Well, YouTube people, it's an afternoon video. We all know what that means. Something has happened. All kidding aside, running channel joke that if I post an afternoon video, it usually means some sort of shenanigans or nonsense is going on in the wonderful world of the hobby. And here we sit. Beckett has closed off all grading service levels except for Premier level. And boy, did they bury this. Before we get into it, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff down below. Yeah. So they really snuck this one out, I'll tell you. The title of this post and the Twitter post was Beckett announces plans for 2021 National. Does anything about that make you think that in this PR release that they're going to close down all their grading services except for the most expensive one like PSA did? I don't think so. I highly encourage you to read this. There's some funny stuff here in the front. Talks about how they've been intentionally quiet over the last few months. Not because they have no reason to be proud. Really, everyone's been begging for you guys to say something. Could have been bragging about keeping our services fully open to the public without a price increase. Did we forget that you raised prices in February? Did you guys forget about that? Very confused. I guess they must say mean since February. Or maybe they're just going off of based off when PSA closed. This first paragraph is a rough. I don't know. It's rough if you ask me. It comes off a little tone deaf, in my opinion. Perhaps we should have commented on the numerous new companies that have popped up trying to imitate Beckett grading services, but instead we kept our heads down and continued to grade cards with accuracy, integrity that the industry expects and has come to know us from. Like, can we not take shots at other companies? Let's go over and look at your estimated turnaround times really quick. Economy, 11 plus months. Standard, 8 plus months. Okay. Guys, glad you guys kept your head down. And then this almost feels trolly. Let's address the question everyone's been asking. Is the National going to happen? I don't think regarding Beckett, that's the question everyone's been asking. Most people have known for a better part of a month now that the National is probably going to happen. And the reason that they're shutting down now is to prepare for the National. You probably can't hear it, but I am tapping my hand on my desk. Doing a little finger roll thing. Okay. All right. Sure. Okay. And then we get into the actual announcement. Beckett will suspend all grading submissions other than Premier level. For those not familiar with it, Premier level is $250 per card with 10 to 15 day turnaround time with subgrades. $250 with subgrades. $125 without. So essentially, they're just enacting the PSA plan. And I don't see how it's June. The National's in less than 60 days. You guys are going to magically get caught up in a month and a half? Okay. Really, they probably should have done this about Halloween of last year. Let's be honest. It's easy for me to sit here and judge when, I don't work there. I don't know what their situation is. But all I know is I look at the blowout form tracker. I look at your estimated turnaround times. I don't really see a lot of people submitting cards to you, at least in my circle. And yet you guys are still super, super behind. I'm being a little overly harsh here because I like Beckett slabs. I really do. And I feel like they had a golden opportunity to really kind of seize the day when PSA shut down. But in my opinion, they didn't handle things correctly leading up to the PSA shutdown, which then left them to just get slammed even more. Imagine a world where they got their stuff together over the last 6 months, PSA closes down, and then Beckett is there ready to step in and start cranking cards back out. How much market share they could have regained. Um, but instead, they basically, I get it. We didn't say anything. Like, people were dying for you to say something. So, anyways, Beckett closing down all services except for Premier level, like literally taking the play out of the PSA playbook, which they should do, honestly. They're way behind. They're clearly way behind, and they need to get caught back up again. I don't think they're going to get caught back up by the National. That seems aggressive. Maybe they can. I don't know. This is going to be temporary and something we believe will improve our availability for the remainder of 2021 and into 2022. And this goes into effect June 7th. So you do not have a lot of time to get cards there. And it does say they will return cards sent. Becca, all orders submitted under Express Standard and Economy level will be returned to the customer ungraded starting June 7th. So I don't know if that means they do not say postmarked by June 7th or in their mailbox by June 7th. So tread carefully if you are trying to get cards into them in time for grading. But yeah, I do encourage you to read the first paragraph. Yeah. Okay. I was going to address this in a separate video, but let's just get into it here. I think CSG is next in regards to needing to close down or do something. CSG to me is dangerously treading towards kind of what I thought was going to happen. SGC 2.0. We all remember how everyone got mad at SGC last year for falling way behind and never doing anything and not keeping people in the loop and this, that, and the other thing. As of right now, CSG is at 199 business days on bulk with a 2-month wait before they even check the order in. So you're going 2 months, then the 199-day clock starts, which is basically 10 months. So you're basically looking at a year for CSG bulk already. And they've been open, 5 months? And it's been 2 months, 3 months since the PSA shutdown. And guess what's coming now? Anyone that was sending to Beckett, here it comes to CSG and SGC. The state of grading right now continues to become a bigger pile of mess. PSA basically closed for another month, and we don't know what they look like when they reopen. Beckett essentially closed except for the ultra high-end cards. SGC completely caught up, but no one seems to care. Really? I mean, they are caught up. I've heard that they've turned orders around in a week. You send them off, they get them on Monday, and your cards are shipped back to you at the end of the week. That tells me that a lot of people aren't using. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people are using them and they're just super on top of their stuff. But if everyone and their brother was using them, I feel like they'd be falling more behind. I don't know. CSG seems to be a mess, and HGA is also heading down the mess category. There's been numerous reports of, I kind of talked about it they came up in my live stream on Saturday, and a lot of people in chat were like, I am way over on days with HGA. And I know that they've come out and kind of addressed some of that stuff, but when your motto is, 10 days means 10 days and all this, and all of a sudden you drastically fall behind, even with a queue system, that's not a great look. There's been lots of reports of missing cards, missed orders, damaged stuff, all sorts of little odds and ends of stuff. And I'm intrigued by HGA, but I've always been skeptical of them since day one. Same with CSG. CSG has a little bit more pedigree behind them than HGA does, but CSG is literally following the SGC playbook from last year. And I don't know, it's not going to get any better for them now with Beckett closing down. A lot of people that were sending to Beckett that like subgrades or whatever are probably now going to look at CSG because the people that send to Beckett are usually doing it for subgrades. HGA still has their cap, And, CSG is going to get hammered even harder than they already are. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here in a month and I'm doing the same video update for CSG. We're closed down except for our most premier level service, yada, 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 to get caught up. Um, to me, Beckett and CSG both should have been out in front of this way earlier. It was always heading this direction since PSA closed down. They should have started putting safeguards in place and triggers in place, limiting orders, doing whatever they needed to do before it gets to this point where you're completely breakneck. You're past the point of no return. And I feel like in this case, both Beckett and CSG are already at that point. And HGA is heading there even with the caps, which I understand that I haven't dug into it yet. I understand that they've kind of changed the way that you're submitting to them, kind of the way they're not necessarily guaranteeing turnaround. I don't know. I didn't dig into it, so I don't want to comment too much on the changes that HGA has made recently. And then, we're a month away from PSA reopening with something. We don't know what yet. It's not going to be everything. There's no way PSA is just going to throw the doors wide open and say, send us all your cards. That's not going to happen. It's probably going to be express level coming back and maybe something else. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's caps or something. So that they don't end up right back where they were again. They are really churning out orders. Sounds like they're pop controlling or grading harder or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I normally don't put a lot of stock into that stuff. But when Elite Co 3 calls it out, then I put stock in that because I trust his opinion when it comes to grading stuff over random people complaining on Facebook. So when he says something like that's going on, I tend to believe that something is going on with PSA grading then. I personally haven't been grading much lately, obviously, other than some Marvel stuff and one order that I have hanging out with Card Collector 2. So I'm not going to speak to it firsthand because I just don't have it, but I trust Alico's opinion when it comes to how PSA is grading at any given time. So, but yeah, Beckett's closed now. That leaves your options as CSG, SGC, and the HGA Q game. I will be curious to see if SGC has to make any adjustments. The fact that they're still keeping up with orders relatively on time makes me think they're either getting not a lot of business or they have refined their process to the point that they can keep up. So we'll see what happens now with Beckett closing down. I don't know how many people were sending stuff to Beckett. People must have still been sending cards to them because they have not been able to get caught up in a year. When you have a 10-month backlog on, looking at the turnaround times, 11 months on economy and 8+ months on standard, then, you're clearly not getting caught up. There's people I right before I recorded this video, I hopped in. One of the best entertaining reads on the internet is the Blowout forum thread regarding grading turnaround times. There's forum threads for each company and people track their orders. It's always a ball to dive into those and just kind of peruse and see what everyone's yelling about. And there's people with orders from the end of June last year that don't have them back yet and that aren't even in grading yet in some cases. So you're talking about a year plus on stuff. So they have a year plus backlog on economy, and them closing down for a month and a half is going to fix it. Now, they don't put a firm date. They just make it sound like, that they're doing this for the you're not doing this for the national. Come on. That's probably like a 3% of the reason that you're actually doing this. Who knows? But that's all I got for you guys and girls today. Once again, the grading scene continues to be an absolute mess. And, there's a good chance it's looking more and more likely that come July 1st, PSA comes back looking like the knight in shining armor here to save the industry, depending on what they roll back out with turnaround times and prices, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen. PSA closed down. The law of unintended consequences was, oh Lord, you instantly screw over every one of your competitors because they're not equipped to handle the Eye of Sauron turning on them and just unloading baskets and baskets and boxes of cards to be graded on an SGC, a CSG, and a BGS, who in BGS cases were already backed up, and CSG, who were already slipping on times before the PSA shut down. So you instantly screw over all your competition, making them look a lot worse than they actually are. And then in the meantime, you're getting your act together, and now you come back looking like the hero a couple months later, as the premier grading option that you always were. And you still command the most premium on the secondary market, and now you're the one that's got all your infrastructure in place, caught up, this, that, and the other thing. And like I said, they look like the knight in shining armor. We'll see. That's like sitting down with Bob Ross and having him paint the pretty little picture in the woods of how we think things could go. We'll see what happens. Come July 1st, I'm sure I'll be recording another video about whatever PSA is doing, and we'll see exactly what they roll out, what it looks like, and how it impacts the hobby at that point, and what everyone else has done in the meantime. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, all that stuff in the YouTube nonsense down below. Smash the like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't, all that wonderful stuff. If you're feeling extra spicy, use the eBay affiliate link to make some purchases. That's all I got for you guys and girls today. Peace.